Hello, everyone. So I'm super excited to showcase our new Inventory Manager picking features for you all today. So some quick background on me. My name is Alyssa Strand. I'm Cavallo's product manager for the SalesPad suite of applications, which includes Inventory Manager. I've been with Cavallo for about 8 years now, and I'm located at our headquarters in Grand Rapids, Michigan. I spend my free time reading, playing video games, and exploring new places. So without further ado, let's get into our new Inventory Manager features. We have introduced 4 highly impactful new feature sets for Inventory Manager, all tied to the sales order fulfillment process. Picking assignments automation, which is actually triggered in SalesPad and is tied to sales order workflow, directed picking, and batch picking. So we'll be going over the features included in each of these. We developed all of these new options in collaboration with existing Inventory Manager users. Everyone has different processes and business needs when it comes to sales order fulfillment, so we took the time to really dive in and understand what our users are looking for. You'll see that reflected in all of the different configuration options that we've created. So we're supporting the biggest use cases that were raised, and we'd love to hear any feedback on any other areas that are important for you. Picking assignments, directed picking, and batch picking are all powerful tools, and you can really maximize your warehouse picking efficiency by combining them. So imagine starting with 10 orders that are ready to be picked. Before these features were available in Inventory Manager, you would likely be using paper pick tickets to assign these orders to a picker. The picker would need to keep track of all of those pick tickets while using the mobile app to pick those orders one at a time. They may or may not follow FIFO and FIFO rules. They could be walking all over the warehouse to find those items, backtracking. They might cycle through the warehouse 10 times because they would be following each of those 10 pick tickets. And if they lost a pick ticket along the way, they would lose that order, which could cause shipping delays and a negative customer experience. With these new picking features, the warehouse manager could assign those 10 orders to a batch pick group, and then assign them to a picker, all within the system. The picker would automatically see that batch pick group in the batch picking module in the mobile app. They could walk through the stock area once to pick everything for all 10 orders in one smooth flow, with recommendations showing them the next bin to go to, which items to get there, and which serials and lots they should pull to respect business rules. So you can really stack the benefits of all of these features together. Eliminate paper and ink costs from printed pick tickets, and eliminate the risk of losing a pick ticket, which means losing an order. Ensure your pickers know what they should be working on and give them enough work to stay busy at their experience level. Show pickers where to go to find the items they need, and make sure they're picking the oldest product or next to expire product first, while sticking to the best path to save time and ship faster. Pick orders in batches so that pickers can pick multiple orders in each trip through the warehouse. And automate your picking assignments so that your warehouse managers can focus on other priorities that need their attention. So picking assignments encompasses a variety of features, including new configuration to set up pickers in picking groups, the ability to manually assign orders to pickers, and options for automating those assignments within SalesPad. All of this then affects which sales orders those pickers are able to see and fulfill in the mobile app. This feature set covers a range of use cases. So what we were hearing from our current users is that some people don't assign sales orders ahead of time, so they have an open pool of orders that are ready to be picked. With this feature set, their pickers could become automatically assigned to an order when they pick it up, so other pickers won't see that order and try to pick it as well. Some people like the added control of their warehouse manager manually assigning out orders. They can now replace their paper pick ticket process with an assignment process that lives in the system. So they still have that control, but they don't have to print and manage a bunch of pick tickets or risk losing an order by losing a piece of paper. And some people want the benefits of ahead of time assignments without spending time doing all of that manually. So for them, we have our SalesPad workflow automation options. All of these scenarios benefit from better organization of the fulfillment process, helping pickers know what they should be working on, keeping them from double picking orders or otherwise stepping on each other's toes, and ensuring that sales orders are fulfilled quickly and accurately to meet customer expectations. So the Inventory Manager desktop app provides a new picking assignment screen for these features. On the Picking Configuration tab, warehouse managers can manage their pickers. So they can see all of their users that are set up in Inventory Manager. They can filter by the assigned warehouse and flag which users are pickers, which makes them available for assignments. They can create picking groups and assign pickers to those groups, and see a running tally for how many pickers are in each group to help with managing those workloads. They can also set up capacity rules and document complexity rules for their pickers and picking groups. So newer pickers can be assigned smaller, easier documents while they're still learning the warehouse layout, and they can't be given too much to work on at once. While more senior pickers can be given bigger, more complex orders, and they can have more assigned because they're getting through their orders faster. This can be updated as needed to account for day-to-day personnel changes. So they can easily add a picker to a group, and that will immediately affect which orders that picker can see in the mobile app. On the Picking Assignments tab, warehouse managers can manually assign orders to pickers and groups. They can search for sales orders that are ready for fulfillment in their warehouse, targeting specific workflow queues and date ranges. Then they can assign those orders to their pickers or groups. They can assign more than one picker and/or group to an order if needed, or they can leverage a concept called balanced assignments. So this will make Inventory Manager review the capacities for each of the selected pickers and groups and assign each order to one of them in a balanced fashion, like round robin, but also automatically accounting for their capacity and document complexity rules. Warehouse managers can change and remove assignments as needed. They can see the current workloads for their pickers and groups, and they can see fulfillments in action because we're providing visibility of how much is left to fulfill for each of these orders. And this updates every time the screen is refreshed to reflect the latest submissions from the mobile pickers. The final tab on the Picking Assignment screen provides configuration options for automatic assignments. These rules can be named to help with managing them. Their exact priority order can be controlled, and they can each have multiple conditions that are used to check if an order matches that rule. These conditions can be based on any sales document level field, including SalesPad user-defined fields, or UDFs. So here's an example where the top priority is Amazon orders, which are all orders for the Amazon customer. These will be assigned to the Amazon picking group. If the order isn't for that customer, then it checks whether the priority UDF for that order is set to ASAP. If so, then it will be assigned to the rush ship picking group. Otherwise, orders fall into a standard orders bucket, and they'll be assigned to one of those two pickers based on their current capacities. These rules can have restricted capacity handling, which means that they will respect the capacity and document complexity restraints for each picker and group. Or they can be set to ignore those restraints, and then they'll just assign to whoever has the least quantity assigned currently. There are two options for triggering automatic assignments in SalesPad. There's a new workflow plugin that can be hooked up in Workflow so that as orders get to the ready to pick queue, they just automatically assign to a picker. There's also a new automation agent job, which reviews orders in a particular workflow queue on a configured schedule and assigns each of those orders to pickers. This AA job has special configuration options to set priorities for which orders get assignments first, and determine what happens if there are no valid assignment rules set up, or if no one has available capacity right now. Those situations could allow orders to continue in workflow anyway and just become an open pool of available orders that anyone could pick up. Or they could be kept in their current workflow queue so that the job just retries assigning that order the next time it runs. Or it could notify with an error so that someone can manually review and decide how to handle it. So both the plugin and the AA job are highly driven by workflow. They both require SalesPad, and the AA job also requires automation agent licensing. The final pieces of picking assignments affect the mobile app. So when a picker chooses an order to pick, they can automatically become assigned to it. This captures who's actually picking the order, so it can be helpful with or without the assignment being made ahead of time. And then the most important aspect of the picking assignments feature set is whittling down visibility based on these assignments. So pickers can only see orders that are assigned to them or their group. And they can optionally be allowed to see sales orders that don't have assignments yet, so they can pull from that open pool of orders. They can also be prevented from loading an order that's assigned to someone else to prevent them accidentally double picking or interfering with that order. So overall, picking assignments offers many different options to streamline fulfillment processes for a variety of businesses. Our next big feature set is directed picking. So this involves a variety of configuration options, setting up rules for how to prioritize sales orders, which cereals and lots to pick first, and leveraging the warehouse bin structure to optimize the picking flow. People typically want to ship the oldest product first, and when dealing with products like food and medicine, it's incredibly important to ship those products before they expire. Otherwise, that's just sunk cost. So if pickers don't know where to find the right product to ship, that can lead to inventory control issues and quality issues and missed revenue opportunity for the business. Pickers could also be traveling around the entire warehouse to find what they need, backtracking, going to the same area multiple times, which means a lot of extra time spent picking each order. This feature set is tailored to solving these problems and optimizing warehouse fulfillment while following business rules. There is a new directed picking configuration screen in the Inventory Manager desktop app with tabs for the different kinds of priorities that can be set up. These priority rules just need to be configured once, but they could also be tweaked as needed. Sales order priorities can be based on any sales doc level field, including SalesPad UDFs, and multiple fields could be used if applicable. A typical use case here would be to make sure that orders ship in sequence based on their required ship date, earliest first. But other people may want to prioritize based on dock date, shipping method, or a priority UDF, or some combination of the above. And then it's possible to control how that priority is communicated to the picker on the mobile app. It can affect the sequence of the list of orders that the picker reviews to find their next order to pick. It can display the highest priority order number in a suggestion field, and it can also just populate the highest priority order for them automatically. These rules affect the mobile picking module by default, and they can also be applied to the new mobile batch picking module. Serial and lot priorities have all the same configuration options as sales order priorities, but they tie to serial and lot fields instead. People typically want to ship serial items following FIFO logic, first in, first out. So it's possible to prioritize based on the receipt date or by any other serial item field, including UDFs. Many people want to ship lot items in FIFO order, first expired, first out, but FIFO is often used for lot items that don't expire. So lots can be prioritized based on receipt date, expiration date, or any other lot item field, again including UDFs. And both of these have all the same options as sales orders for how this information can be portrayed to the picker. Bin priorities are the final configuration area and the most complex piece because these priorities affect the pick path flow. So they include some more advanced options beyond the basic configuration we've explored so far. For one, bin priorities can be set up per warehouse because not every warehouse has the same bin organization scheme. But it's possible to set up global default priority rules and then just override those rules for warehouses that are set up differently, which makes configuration simpler. Bin pathing can prioritize bins that can provide the full item quantity needed, or bins that can provide just part of what's needed. Some people may want to prioritize the full quantity bins because they want their pickers to make the fewest stops possible, so send me to the place where I can find everything I need. Others may prefer to prioritize the partial quantity bins because they want to make sure their pickers are clearing items out of bins where possible, instead of leaving small quantities of the same item scattered across many different bins. So both of these are options, and this extra priority logic can just be turned off if it isn't needed. It can also be adjusted as needed, so you could prioritize full bins for a bit to minimize stops for faster fulfillment, and then switch to partial bins for a bit to help clean up leftover items and reorganize the warehouse. Bin pathing can also be alternated for each order. So the main use case here is based around bin naming conventions, ensuring that pickers are picking from bin A to bin Z. But for some warehouses, physically going back to start again at bin A for every order requires a lot of extra time. And it would be much more efficient to just have the picker flow from A to Z for their first order, then from Z back to A for their second order, A to Z again for the third, and so on. So there are many options here to allow people to really tailor this to their warehouse processes. Putting it all together, this is what these priorities can look like for the picker. On the left, the mobile picking module has been launched. The highest priority sales order is automatically loaded. That order's items have been reviewed, and the suggestion field is recommending a particular item and bin, so the picker knows exactly where to go and which item to find there. On the right, there's more auto-population enabled. So the module is launched and the highest priority order is loaded. That automatically triggers the auto-population of the item and bin, which in turn auto-populates the exact lot that should be pulled. So by the time the screen loads, all of this information is already available for the picker. And all of the recommendations are also shown in the suggestion field for reference. The lookups for these fields show results that match the priority sequences, and the picker could still change selections to pick something else first if allowed to do so. So this feature set supports many different configuration possibilities, and all of them focus on directing the picker along the most optimal path through the warehouse, showing them which cereals and lots to pick to follow business rules, and ensuring sales orders are picked in the business's priority order. The final new feature set that we'll cover today is batch picking. So this is a full new mobile app module that lets pickers pick a group of orders together in one smooth flow. Orders can be grouped ahead of time in the server app, or they can be grouped on the fly on the mobile app. We've actually created multiple different fulfillment modes for this module because what we've heard from our current users is that there are multiple different use cases that could be relevant here. Some people may want to use batch picking as a staging activity that doesn't actually fulfill the items, because they'll have a separate fulfillment step once the items are staged. This way, they can optimize the pull and stage process while ensuring that all items are shipping on the correct orders. Others may prefer batch picking to also perform fulfillment to avoid having those two separate steps. So for them, we have two options. Batch picking can automatically fulfill as you stage. So when a picker submits grouped quantities, it will automatically break those out as needed to apply them to the orders in that batch pick group. So the picker might pull 20 of a certain item that needs to be fulfilled across 5 orders. They can submit the full 20 quantity and fulfill that item for all 5 orders at once. This fulfillment mode provides the biggest time savings, and it works great for non-tracked items. But of course, if you have serial or lot tracked items, it's typically imperative to know the exact order that received each individual serial or lot. For that, you could have separate stage and fulfill steps, or you could use the manual fulfillment mode. This mode requires the picker to select the exact order and line for each submission. So they wouldn't submit the full 20 quantity at once. They would have to submit multiple times, but they still benefit from having one smooth flow to pull all needed items for all those orders. Different user groups can be set to use different fulfillment modes. So if warehouses have different processes, or if there are multiple processes used within one warehouse, batch picking can support all of those business cases. So there is a new batch picking assignment screen in the Inventory Manager desktop app, where warehouse managers can group up orders ahead of time. They can find orders that are ready to be picked in their warehouse and group them up as needed. They can assign orders to groups directly, and they can also unassign orders from groups as needed. There are also some handy bulk assignment options available here. Warehouse managers can flag whether they want grouped orders to share some number of items or a customer or shipping method. They can set the minimum number of documents to include in a group. Maybe it's not any more efficient to combine only 2 documents, so they want a minimum of 3. And they can also set the maximum number of documents in a group to keep them from being too large to handle. Then they just assign all, and those orders will be automatically split into groups following those rules. This way, they don't have to do the work of comparing all these different orders to combine them in the best way. So I could have 20 different orders that were all split in SalesPad because they're waiting on one specific item that's back ordered. When I receive that item in, I want to take all 20 of those orders and make them a group. So a picker can go get all the needed quantity of that item in one trip instead of making 20 separate trips. This feature set makes it super easy to make that happen, and it's all in the system instead of needing to do separate manual processes or print out bulk pick tickets. In the mobile app, the new batch picking module is very similar to the standard picking module, but it starts with selecting a batch pick ID or selecting one or more sales docs to create a new group on the fly. If batch pick groups are created ahead of time, the picker can find them in the batch pick ID lookup and load one up. This shows how many orders are in that group, and when they select an item to pick, they can see the total quantity they need across all of those orders, as well as how much they need for each order so they can separate them out as they pick. They enter the quantity, cereals and lots if applicable, as well as which bin they're pulling the items from. And then the other new concept here is the to bin. Some people prefer to transfer items out of their stock bins to a staging area once they're batch picked. They can set up a global default and hide the to bin field from pickers if items should always transfer to the same staging bin, or they can let pickers change the to bin in case they have multiple staging areas that could be used. Or this field could just be hidden and no default setup if the staging bin transfer isn't needed. Just like the standard picking module, all of these fields on the screen can be scanned or manually typed, or the picker can use a lookup to find relevant documents, items, serials, lots, and bins. And all of these options are configurable, so pickers can be forced to scan to prove that they actually went to this bin and picked this serial. The mobile batch picking module works differently based on the fulfillment mode. No fulfillment mode will stage the item quantities without fulfilling them. So the displayed fields mention staging instead of picking. The item quantity breakout per order can be hidden if the staging user doesn't need to separate the items for each order. And the staging user can submit the full quantity needed for a given item, and that will automatically stage that item across all applicable orders. Automatic fulfillment mode will stage and fulfill as the picker submits. So the picker can see the quantity breakout per order so they can physically separate the items as they go, which helps to ensure that they will all ship on the correct orders. And each time they submit, the item quantities will be automatically staged and fulfilled for applicable orders. Manual fulfillment shows a few extra fields because the picker must select the order in line for each submission. They cannot pick the full quantity needed across multiple orders in one submission. They'll need to submit once for each order. But the benefit here is that each serial and lot can be assigned to a specific order, which respects business rules around serial and lot shipment tracking. The fulfillment mode and the per order quantity breakout are both configurable at the user group level. So this processing and visibility can be tailored to different business cases. So it can't be said enough. Picking assignments, directed picking, and batch picking are all powerful tools, and you can really maximize your warehouse picking efficiency by combining them. Eliminate paper pick tickets by leveraging picking assignments within the system, and automate those assignments so that you don't need to spend time doing that manually. Make sure your pickers know what to work on and where to go so they can ship orders quickly and accurately, while following business rules around which orders, serials, and lots to pick first. And pick more than one order at a time to really maximize each trip through the warehouse. So you might already be wondering how you can start using these new picking features. These are all included in Inventory Manager. So if you already have Inventory Manager, all you need to do is upgrade to a version that includes these updates. It's worth noting that these features are only available for the Android and iOS versions of the mobile app. We did used to support a Windows mobile app, but we no longer develop new features for that mobile operating system. We are highly recommending implementation consulting assistance because, as you've seen, there are a lot of configuration options available. So we're suggesting that when you submit your upgrade request form, you let us know which features you're interested in, and we can provide a quote for any assistance you may need. The picking assignments automation features live in SalesPad. So the workflow plugin is included in SalesPad, and the AA job requires you to have Automation Agent. Again, you just need to upgrade and let us know which of these you'd like to add. We have some new DLLs that we'll install as part of the upgrade, which will unlock these features. If you don't yet have some of these required applications and you're interested in learning more or getting a quote, definitely connect with your account manager. And if you aren't sure who to contact, you can always email sales@cavallo.com. We already have public documentation available for all of these features on our support site, support.cavallo.com, for anyone who would like more details on these features and all their configuration options. There are a ton of screenshots and examples to help you get an idea of how you might like to configure everything. So I would highly recommend taking some time to review that if you'd like to use these features. And finally, I always love to hear about any other ideas that our users have for us. We have a SalesPad Ideas portal where you can see pending ideas and vote for your favorites. You can also submit new ideas for us to review. Some other ideas that have been raised for Inventory Manager include zone picking and directed put away, so those are other ideas that we're considering. And if those are areas that any of you are interested in, please let us know. We want to create the most value for the most people, so it's really important to let us know what you're looking for and add on votes if your idea is already there. And now I'll pass it back to Elizabeth to give you all an intro to Elevate 25.
Yeah, thank you so much, Alyssa. I am thrilled to announce that Elevate is coming back. So this was formerly known as Panels. So save the date for August 18 through 20 in Grand Rapids, Michigan. We're going to be back at the Amway Grand Plaza Hotel, which is right downtown. Beautiful hotel. You can expect over 40 breakout sessions to expand your product knowledge, an amazing keynote speaker, endless networking opportunities, and of course, amazing hospitality. We hope you'll join us as well as the amazing partners who are supporting the event through sponsorship. Registration is opening very soon. So by the end of the month, keep an eye out. We'll be offering some really great early bird rates that you won't want to miss. I have one more exciting offer that I want to mention that I'd be remiss if I didn't. So Alyssa, if you don't mind popping over to the next slide. Through the end of the month, we are offering a money back guarantee for Profit Analytics. So there is zero risk and no implementation fees with this specific product. So this is a no-brainer for any organizations that are looking to maximize profit. So highly recommend looking into this if you're not familiar. Just let your account manager know that you're interested and we'll get you up to speed. All right, we do have some questions, Alyssa. So if you are ready, let's dive in. So the first
Absolutely.
one, someone was saying, presuming Inventory Manager is an add-on, how do we know if we already have it? Could you just give a little more context around that?
Yes. So Inventory Manager is a separate application from SalesPad. So you could be using SalesPad and not using Inventory Manager. You could be using Inventory Manager and not using SalesPad. So if you're not sure which ones you have or which other add-ons, like Automation Agent is the requirement for that picking assignments automation job. If you're not sure what you have right now, then you can definitely reach out to your account manager and we can check your licensing and help you with anything else you might need.
Yeah, perfect. Okay, another one. Are there any options to fulfill FIFO inventory without lot numbers or serial numbers?
Right. So with the way that GP inventory is structured, unfortunately, non-tracked items just get kind of grouped together. The waters get muddied. So when you take a bunch of non-tracked items and put them in the same bin, we don't know anymore which individual items were received first. So there's no good way to do that with the current GP item structure. So if that's a need for you, lot items might be a better way to handle that. They do add some overhead, so there are some other considerations there that you would want to discuss with your GP partner before you go revamping all of your inventory. But that would be one option if FIFO is important for you.
Thank you, Alyssa. And then is this a paid update?
Right. So No, if you have Inventory Manager, all of this is included. You just need to upgrade. If you have SalesPad, then you can use that Picking Assignments workflow plugin. If you have Automation Agent, then you can use that Automation Agent job. So if you have those platforms, then you're all good to go. You just need to upgrade. But if you're missing any of those, then you would need that licensing in order to access that functionality.
Thank you. I've got one more for you. Is it possible to prevent pickers from creating batch picks on the fly?
Yes, yep. So that's configuration based. Different user groups can be set up for whether they're allowed to create batch picks on the mobile app. So if you would rather only warehouse managers create those and your pickers are not able to create batch pick groups on the fly, then you can lock all of that down.
Okay, one more just came in. What if I want to group up orders for batch picking and assign that batch to a picker? Do I need to make sure to assign all of those orders to the same person, I guess?
Sure. So, no. So, all of these features are nicely intertwined. We put a lot of thought into how these interact with each other to make sure that, everything flows together very nicely. So, with batch picking and picking assignments, you can take all of your orders and add them to a batch pick group. And then when you assign those, whether it's manually or via the automations or automatically on the mobile app, if someone's pulling from an open pool of orders, all of those scenarios will automatically assign all of the orders in that batch pick group to that picker. So even if you just select one of those orders in the manual assignment screen, all of them will automatically be included. So you don't need to go through and make sure that you're selecting all of the right orders.
Fantastic. Um, let's see. One more. I think I heard this earlier, but can you make the picking field only scannable?
Yes. Yeah. So pretty much all of those fields in the batch picking module, you can we've cleaned up a bit of the configuration. Some of our existing modules have, like, you can make some fields scan only, or you can lock down the lookups, but it's not all the fields. For this new batch picking module, we've revamped the way that we do this. And each of these fields where there is a lookup available, you can just go through and essentially check a box for whether they should be allowed to enter the lookup, whether they can scan, or whether they can manually type into the field. So you can pick maybe they should be allowed to do multiple, maybe they could scan or go into the lookup, or if you just want them to scan it, that's an option as well.
Thank you so much, Alyssa. All right, that looks like it's going to conclude all of the questions for today. Thanks again, Alyssa, for your time and its efforts towards the presentation. More importantly, thank you to all of you for joining us today. If you would like to explore your organization's specific needs or have any questions following today's presentation, definitely reach out to your account manager or simply scan this QR code and complete a short form at the link. There will be a super short survey, 3 questions at the end of the webinar. We'd greatly appreciate your feedback. Thanks again for joining us, and we hope you have a great day.
Thanks, everyone.